Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So by the time you guys are watching this, it is December 30th. I'm actually recording this on the December 16th. 2024 is coming to a close, and I literally cannot believe it, you guys. Like, how has the year gone so fast? So basically, this is my wrap up for the year. So we're going to be going, this is going to be divided into 5 different parts or sections, and I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. So sorry about the length, but stick to the end because you'll get to hear all of my goals and hopes and everything for 2025, including reading goals, because I didn't set a reading goal last year or for the past year, so that's exciting. So part 1 is going to be what were my goals for last year and did I achieve them, which was divided into writing, editing, and publishing goals. Part 2 is going to be what exactly did I accomplish this year, books I wrote, books that I finished editing, and books that I published. And then which also may, never mind. And then part 3 is my personal goals that I achieved this year, which was Duolingo and Fable / my reading goals, because I'm using the Fable app to kind of show my 2024 wrap up with my reading goals, because I actually did read a lot this year when my average was like 3 or 4 books per year. Part 4 is my year in a picture, so I'll show you guys the books that I wrote and the books that I read in a picture. And then part 5 is going to be my goals for 2025, which includes writing goals. So part 5 is going to be my goals for 2025, which includes writing goals, reading goals, editing goals, publishing goals, and personal goals. So let's get into this. So first of all, what were my goals for last year and did I meet them? So if you haven't already, watch my last year's video where I set up my goals for 2024. Go check that out. If not, the quick summary is I was way too ambitious. I also did a vlog series where I was supposed to be keeping track of how I was doing throughout the year, but I forgot. I kept up with it with the first of the year when I freaked out and almost like lost one of my streaks, but okay. So basically, to the point, one of my goals, let me see if I can find it, was YouTube. That was one of my goals, was to keep up with 3 days a week, so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I wanted to start writing challenge collaboration videos. So I didn't start the collaboration videos, but my main goal was to post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the year. And shortly at the beginning of the year in January, I was late publishing a video and the time got messed up and I was like in the AM of the next day, but I still counted it. But I have been faithful to YouTube, and my YouTube has actually grown. I'm almost at 530 subscribers, which is a lot. I don't remember how many I started at the beginning of the year, but I do know that I gained a lot. I started using vidIQ to help me, which is a lot of other YouTubers who grow their channels and help other people grow their channels used it. So I was watching a lot of that. And so that actually did help me. It did take up a lot of time and distract me from editing. Editing really took a big hit this year. Same with writing, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I did keep up with that. I don't know if I'm going to keep up with that. I have enough content to. It's just the editing part really slows me down. However, CapCut is my new editing program that I used this year, and it helped streamline the process so fast. But here lately, I've been putting captions at the bottom. You probably can read them now. And I listen to the video and edit it, but I also have to stop and retype something if it's misspelled. And so either I'm going to have to stop caring about that and just let them go and have the captions be what the captions are, or do away with captions altogether. I don't know if it really makes a difference. Let me know in the comments below if you like the captions or not. So that was YouTube. So can you imagine setting all these goals for myself and then expecting me to also be able to keep up with 3 videos a week for YouTube? Like, it was so ambitious. So long story short, summary for my goals, outlining. I wanted to outline all of these books. Did I get any of these outlined? I got this one partially outlined. I probably touched a few. I didn't actually do that. So I kind of sort of got ideas for that one. I did that one. I kind of did Flood, which actually is this one. So I did not get any other Calamity's Hope books done. And I did not, and I wouldn't count that as an outline at all. And I've been improvising a lot of the books this year. So I had points and I was going to give myself awards, and it just, let's be honest, it didn't happen. Okay. It did not happen. So next, editing goals. Look at this. On top of all of this, I was supposed to edit, you guys. Well, I mean, I edited Immortal. I did 2 rounds of it. So I did round 1, finished it up at the very beginning of the year, and did round 2. And my editor did Survivor and sent it to me, and it's sitting right there, and I haven't touched it, so that didn't happen. I got beta readers from the Blood Prince. I did do a pre-editing round of Remnant, so I guess that is something, and I did technically pre-edit Survivor before I sent it to her, so that was my pre-edits for those 2, so they're not like a full editing, but I mean, I my goal was to get them fully edited, like all 2 rounds with me and my editor. So edit it myself, send it to her, she edits 1 round, sends it to me, I do round 1, I send it back to her, she does round 2, sends it back to me, I do my final round and stuff. That was what my goal was here. I didn't even touch the Republic Chronicles at all this year. I got beta readers for the Beta Prince, never went through them. I did a few chapters of that one, never did anything else with it. Same with these 2, and I did edit Assassin before I sent it to Brandon for the audiobook. So yeah, all my awards and my points, pretty much, I will calculate that at the end, but that didn't happen either. So you can kind of see where this is going, y'all. You want to see what my writing goals for the year were? Okay, let's check it out. All right, we've got Lost Magi, Light Rise, the 3rd Mech Wars, the 3rd Game of Lies book. So I did, like, because Light Rise was supposed to be a duology. That's book 4 in the Republic Chronicles. That's the 2nd book in a duology. 3rd book in 2 different series is bonus novel for the Republic Chronicles. I don't know what in the world that was supposed to be. I did write Flood, but it's not finished yet, so I didn't fully write it. So big epic fail that way. I didn't even plan those 2, let alone other Calamity's Hope books. Did nothing with the Children of Legends. Did nothing with Mystical Companions, did nothing with another Throne of Mythreach, and any of those I did nothing with. I did an extra episode in Immortal the Lost Journals, so I mean, kudos to that. I failed all of my writing goals this year, so that one stings a little because I was really ambitious and I had a lot of hopes, but we'll look at what I did do in a minute. So next we have books that I wanted to rewrite that were really bad. So I had 5 of those. I wanted to rewrite Survivor, and I did. I got the pre-edits done and I sent that into my editor. So yay me, I did that. Cast in Stone, The Last Pendragon, the first Pendragon, and Phantom Games 1 and 2. I didn't touch any of those, but I did do Survivor. So yay me. Publishing goals. What was I supposed to publish this year? I wanted to publish Immortal, Survivor, Shadow Magi, Steel Magi, The Blood Prince, a Calamity's Hope novel, Wildfire, another. So I did do Wildfire. Was that this year? Really? And then a standalone novel, which I did not do. Mystic Series, Book Whisperer. I was wanting to sign with publisher. And then any other book on my publishing goals list. So I did 2, technically, which I'm pretty sure Wildfire, I thought that was last year. I don't know. Well, I'll have to check that one, but maybe the time I was writing this, I hadn't released it yet, but either way, the only book I'm pretty sure I published this year was Immortal. My cat is playing. Hold on. Okay, so I only published Immortal this year. Failed at that too, but in my defense, Immortal took up a lot of time. Like, editing it round 1 and 2 took both me and my editor a lot of work. Formatting it, proofreading it. I mean, I've been releasing the vlogs on Wednesdays for months, since like October or even before then. I don't remember when I started. So you guys can see just how many vlogs I had about it because it was so much work. I think the cat's climbing the Christmas tree. So... And then I changed it from just releasing Immortal to doing a Kickstarter for it, which was in the tail end of July into August. So it was August. And then I had a delay with the shipping, so I wasn't able to get everything shipped until October. So it was like August, September, and October, and the marketing for that took up so much time and then energy. And so I was just... And then I had to actually release the book in November. So the whole latter half of this year was spent releasing Immortal, and that just distracted from any other books I could have like released or whatever. So I kind of failed that section. So I had new ideas that I wanted to do. I wanted to do the Cast in Stone series, but I never touched it. And then I wanted to test Kindle Vella because it was becoming a big thing, but I don't think it's really a big thing anymore. Like, it is still existing, but I don't think it's kind of like where everything's shifting. So I'm probably not going to do much with it. Also, testing a smart notebook. maybe. So I had ambitious reading goals this year. So I didn't actually officially set a reading goal for Goodreads. So I had this 40 book challenge video. I don't know why I thought I could read 40 books in a year. That was way too ambitious. Never finished it. I wanted to read the Anathalion series. So I did read book 1, so Anathalion. So I read Woofy, I didn't mean to do that. So I did read The Ever King. And again, some of these I changed my mind in what I wanted to read. So like The Ever King I did read. I still have some of these on my TBR, but they're kind of like not as important as some of the other ones. So my goals here was like, if I did 1 from it, I would get, you know, so many points. And then if I read 2, so I did do 1 book for my TBR list, which was Anathalion and The Ever King. So I actually did 2. And then I did 3 and then 6 and then all 13. So, but everything, I did buy all the Once Upon a Prince series, and I did read 2 books in the Once Upon a Prince series, 1 last year, 1 this year. So I guess I didn't, at the time I wrote this, I hadn't. So I did do that. And honestly, though, I had so much more than I ever could have expected. It's just my TBR list changed in the time, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And my attention shifted, but I'm so excited about my reading because I did read a lot this year, which was not expected considering I only read 3 or 4 books average in a year. So I did have bonus goals of writing the Calamity's Hope books into movie scripts. Never did that. I wanted to finish one of the RPG Maker games for one of my books, but I found something else that kind of replaced that, and so I got distracted with that, which I'll talk about in a minute, the Chapter Story app. And then my personal goals: walk, exercise, eat healthier, and some stuff like that. So just anything to do with like walking and exercising and eating healthier, and I didn't do those either. I went way downhill on those. So, however, so we know I failed my 2024 goals and rewards, and I set up this fun reward system because I thought it'd be fun to keep track of that and reward myself, but I didn't do anything, so that's pretty much useless. So that's part 1. Let's talk about what I actually accomplished this year. So as I said, I edited Immortal round 1 and 2, so did my editor. I formatted it and published it, and I reformatted all of the books, and I re-released the entire Valiant series. So I re-released all of these. So that honestly took up a good portion of the first half of the year. And then the second half of the year was spent working on releasing Immortal and also getting the omnibus together. So let me get that out as well. So I was also compiling, I don't have enough space here, but I took all 5 of these babies and compiled them into an omnibus. So I had to format it, and I had to format both of these differently. I also had to figure out how to do hardbacks, and also like my designer. I was working with my designer for all of these covers this year. So my designer worked really hard. Shout out to Ren's covers, you're amazing. So he designed all of these covers, plus the rest of the series. And my editor edited Immortal as well, so shout out to H.A. Pruitt for that, because and she also did Survivor, but it's not, and Remnant, but it's not out yet. So figuring out the hardbacks, ordering all of these, I had to go through Barnes & Noble Press, which was a whole hassle, and that caused a lot of issues in my Kickstarter. And going through Barnes & Noble Press for these paperbacks instead of things, but figuring out the formatting. So I designed the series logo, which goes on before all of the chapters. I figured out Atticus, so I learned how to navigate the Atticus program, which took a lot of time. Also figuring out full page images in all of the books. So in this one, the omnibus, it's the covers of each book, but every book, all of these have full page scenes that I found and designed. Mostly found, I didn't actually design any of these. So that I found on like BookBrush and some sites like that. Canva, some of them I had to do myself on Canva, but that one was BookBrush, I think. So the full page images like that are black and white that divide every chapter. So I figured out a lot, and again, re-releasing my books took a lot of time, and it wasn't what I intended to publish anything new, but I feel like rebranding myself as an author was important. I now know who I am as a brand. I have my brand coloring figured out, which is blue and white and black, and redesigning the series now having a logo, and formatting it, and formatting all of my books using Atticus so that they're all pretty consistent, having an official designer and an editor that I turn to, basically figuring out how to actually be a professional author, and I feel like that was definitely absolutely necessary. I also re-released the Calamity's Hope series, and I did that just in time for Wildfire's release, so these desperately needed rebranding as well, and Ren's also designed these covers, and they are gorgeous. So it's romantic suspense, Christian romantic suspense, so I really do love these covers, and they needed it. I'm probably gonna redo them again sometime, but this is kind of like way better than what they were. So I really worked hard. So when you think about it, my publishing goals was all of this plus the omnibus. I can't even get it all in one go without trying to kill myself here. So it was a lot, and it took up a lot of my time. So it was like, my husband constantly reminds me that there's more to writing than writing. There is writing, there is editing, there is proofreading, there is formatting, there is the cover designing if you do that, there is the designing of all the other parts of the cover if you do that, and then there's publishing and there's marketing. And so basically I was just doing a lot of the non-writing stuff to writing, and even non-editing, like I only edited Immortal. I also proofread, I re-edited all of the Calamity's Hope books before this as well, so I forgot to add that in there, because Volcano and Earthquake especially needed it really, really bad, and then I did it properly with Wildfire. So same thing, I also edited Mortal. So when you think about it, I did edit all of these books before they got released, so editing wise I did a lot of work as well. And then, of course, on top of that, I also re-edited Assassin so that Brandon could, when he narrated it for the first time, he would narrate the professionally edited one. So that's editing and publishing. What did I write this year? So this is exciting to talk about. So I thought about doing this on my computer, but the audio is kind of all messed up. So yay! Made a presentation. Ever since I did the Million Word Challenge in 2020, where I wrote 1 million words in a year in 2020, which was also the equivalent of 20 novels in 2020, which was hilarious. I kept a PowerPoint slide where each slide would be a different book, and I wrote down when I started it, when I finished it, what the word count was, and the lessons I learned from it. And I did that for myself so that I could remember the details, because I started writing so much years later I couldn't remember all the details about what writing it was like. And a lot of that stemmed from like the Valiant series, or where I published it, and people would ask me, what was it like writing Mortal for the first time? What was it like writing Assassin for the first time? And I can't remember. It's been too long ago. And so I started keeping track so that way I could refresh my memory if I ever needed to. So, at some point in this year, I don't remember what day I wrote this, but I found this in one of the old slides from this year, and I incorporated into that one because I was really discouraged. So let's check out what this was. So I said, I'm scared I'll never write again. I'm scared I'll never write again. And that was March 19th, 2024. So here's the stats. I'm trying to write in By the Light of the Moon, which is now called Blood in the Montana Backroads. So I started into like mystery, mystery kind of suspenseful. My first example of that was Blood of Beasts, which I did here as a vlog series. It was my first vlog series of me writing a book, and it didn't become the novel I was hoping it was, but it kind of gave me enough to kind of sample the genre. And so from there I came up with Blood in the Montana Backroads. So last time I wrote in it was day 9, and I wrote 631 words in it, which brought it to 6,000 words, February 15th. Must have written another day because I came to it today on March 19th and it was over 7,000. December 10th, 2023 was the last day I wrote as writing a part of a novel, an official project, which was The Tides of War, day 88, and I wrote 5,986 words, and I finished it, which was over well over 100,000 words at that point. So a lot of my thinking with my writing has been, I don't really count my writing if it's not in a novel, which is over 50,000 words and has to be finished. And so if I leave it unfinished, or if it's a novella, I haven't really counted that. And so that mindset has changed for me a lot this year. So we'll get to that in a minute, but that was my mindset, and then why I was so discouraged. It's like, oh, I haven't written a novel since December. And it's like, well, you were delving in other novels, you just didn't finish. So I wrote 200 words in Blood in the Montana Backroads today, so March 19th. But I don't count it because I'm not into it, and I'm not officially taking it on as a fully complete novel. That's just because it's not done yet, with an idea for Blood in the Montana Backroads to be a suspense, a mystery series. So as you can see, I was really negative. I was really discouraged. I hadn't written a novel, and I was literally afraid I was never going to write again. During that time, had a lot of things that I added to books that are not finished yet. So my Struggle to Have a Baby book, I titled it Waiting for Your Miracle. It's a nonfiction. So I wrote in it on those days. I added 2,000 words to Survivor during my pre-edits in February. I added 245 words to By the Light of the Moon, which was now called Blood in the Montana Backroads. I did that March 19th. Legacy of Power, I started it on July 10th. And these are all the days that I worked on it, and I took a break in certain days, so I just kind of wrote the details for Legacy of Power, which I left unfinished because of timeline issues that I haven't figured out yet. So the first book that I wrote this year was The Man in the Cellar. I started it on March 20th, so literally a day after that discouraging message, I started this book, and I finished it on April 28th, so 26 days of non-consecutive writing. So I took breaks here and there, but it was 26 days of writing, non-consecutive, as I said. So it ended up being 55,369 words, and I learned that I can write in a new genre, and I can write psychological thrillers, which I didn't think I could either. And I learned not to be afraid to try new things and experiment and learn and grow and tweak a story to make it fit a genre, and also to make it my own. So prior to this, my only example of this was I wrote that, Blood of Beast or whatever, which was more of a paranormal suspense, and it ended up not being a novel. So this really scared me, because I was like, there's no way you can do that. You can't write in a new genre. It's not going to be a novel, but it's 55,000 words, and it is a novel, and it's a psychological thriller, and it was my first. So The Man in the Cellar revitalized me and changed everything for me, because it got me started in the thriller and suspense, genre, basically. So Flood, there's no star. I haven't finished it yet. It's another book in the Calamity's Hope series. So all of these books here, so Volcano, Earthquake, Wildfire, and Flood. I started it on May 1st. I had a 3-day break between days 24 and 25, so it kind of talked about my breaks. I started rereading it November 22nd and doing a basic edit to get a feel for the voices again to try to finish it. So it's currently unfinished, but it's already at 80,000 words. It's so much longer than these books here. I just haven't finished it yet. I got to the Flood part and I stopped. 149 days as of writing that. So don't know if that's going to get finished, but I did start that. That was a big project for a while from May. Okay, The Cruel Alpha, I did finish writing it, so not necessarily a novel, but it is a finished story. I started writing it on August 10th. I finished it around August 27th, so I stopped logging it in my notebook. So I don't know the exact word count because it's my first book I wrote on the Chapters app, and I learned the platform. It's also my first werewolf romance, so it was a very experimental book. I did have no outline. I had no idea what I was doing, so I improvised. So it was the first book that I improvised for a while, and it taught me a lesson and carried over the lessons to try something new. I completed it on the Chapters app with 20 chapters, and it's a novella and a fully... So it kind of taught me that a full story is still writing a full story, not just a novel. And again, I learned the Chapters app. I did a tutorial video here, so if you're interested, you can check that out. But essentially it was like, it's interactive stories with like pictures for the background and settings, and you can design your characters and have them pop up and talk. And it's very different. So it takes like a specific script format that I had to learn. But they had a writing competition, so I joined it, and I actually submitted The Cruel alpha to the writing competition. People can read the app, they read your books, they can like star it, read it, comment on it. I had a lot of people who were enjoying it and who want the next book. And so it kind of revitalized me and taught me. Again, I didn't have an outline, so I was improvising the whole plot line. I didn't know what I was doing, and I did complete the story, and I did submit it in the deadline before the deadline happened. So I was really excited, and it did teach me a lot and kind of revitalized me again in a new way. And again, carried over that learning to write something new. So I started what is now called The Will to Survive on September 4th. It was previously a psychological thriller called The Cult that I kind of outlined loosely with the help of an AI role-playing app that I'm rewriting the AI's concepts out of it, basically, if that makes any sense. So I'm calling it drafting it, and now I think I had a way to fit it in with my new series, so I'm kind of working on that. But that's kind of like a background pet project for fun, but I did start it and I haven't finished it yet because, again, it's for fun, so I'm only delving. I'm okay in giving myself permission not to focus on it. Okay. Next up, we have The First to Fall. I started it on September 5th. I finished it on October 31st after 41 non-consecutive days, and it's 106,726 words. So it taught me that military romantic suspense is a genre. For some reason, I was thinking that, because I've always loved soldiers. I've always loved soldier stories and soldier romances and any guys in the military. And plot lines with that where they're romantic and there's like action. I just, for some reason, didn't know that could even be a genre that was written. And so it was kind of like my eyes were like, oh, hey, there are authors out here who write entire series where it's like one military guy falls in love with one girl in one book, and it's a series of standalone. So the next one is a different military guy with a different girl and another suspenseful plot. And they write whole series to just copy and paste like similar concepts. Like, that's a thing that becomes popular that readers do love. And so I was like, I can do that myself. So it kind of like was like, whoa, hey, this is something new. So now that was a thing, taught me that using the chapters app and imagining like the visual interactive story, like, okay, what do I want people to play out? What do I want them to read? What choices do I want them to be able to make? That kind of like concept helped me understand that helps me and that inspires me a lot. It taught me that I can write 100K in 41 days, non-consecutive, as I said, and also to balance out writing and then turning that into a visual novel for the chapters app, because I was doing that at the same time. I have 20 chapters on there right now and I haven't finished it yet, but it taught me that I love this genre, military romantic suspense, and how to balance out romance with suspense and mystery and how to weave it throughout the story, and that I can, and I really wish this genre existed sooner because I love it. So a little bit of reference here. When I thought about writing contemporary and I started coming up with the idea for the Calamity's Hope series, my brain was like, okay, the real world is boring. How am I going to make this interesting? The only way I can do that is if to write a romance set in real Earth, I'm going to have to add disasters to the end of them because it's boring and I don't think it's entertaining because I'm used to dragons and magic and like fantasy stuff. And so that's the only way I thought I was going to be able to write in the modern day, is to add disasters to the end. And so that's where the idea for volcano, earthquake, and wildfire came from, because for some reason I didn't know that I can actually do a romantic storyline with a really intense action-y plot line and balance out the two and still do more than one. I also limited myself to one soldier. Like, okay, I have one soldier character in The Last Man Standing and I can never do another soldier character again. I did one in Wildfire and stuff, but he wasn't like in active combat. So I was like, I can't do any more soldier characters. And it's like, no, that is not how that works, darling. And it just opened my eyes and was like, oh, I can do a whole series. So like I can have their whole Navy SEAL team and I can do all the SEALs in their team having a romance, and that's a thing, and it keeps me entertained in the real world, and it was just so eye-opening for me. So I finished it, like I said, on October 31st. I finished it on Halloween, and it's 106,000 words. So I started writing The Cost to Escape was the next one in the same series. So I started it on November 1st, and it was called Escaped Seal. I figured out the title and all that stuff. So I reached 50,000 words and completed NaNoWriMo on November 24th, 2024. So I'm a NaNoWriMo 2024 winner. I finished the actual book, The Cost to Escape, on December 10th. So it's December 16th. So that was literally 6 days ago, which is really hard for me to believe it was 6 days ago. It's 83,150 words. And even then, I've actually still been writing in like an aftermath thing for it. So it taught me like writing every day, keeping up with vlogs, the pressure of nano and certain word counts, combined with writing the first of fall right before this, burned me out. And so several days I wanted to quit. Honestly believed I would not complete nano this year, but I did. It reminded me not to give up, and sometimes you just got to sit in your butt in the seat and force yourself to write. Some days you'll get into it, some days maybe not, but it will help you stick to your goals and get them complete. So as of the time I wrote this part, the book wasn't finished, which was when I finished nano. So I was a bit anxious but hopeful and gonna keep praying about it. I was hopeful I would finish it. It also taught me that when I started praying, God inspired me more and helped me, and it became easier. When I finished nano, the pressure went off. So after that, the pressure was off, I stopped vlogging about it, and then my inspiration skyrocketed, and praying about it helped too. So after that, I wrote for myself. It taught me to just write the first draft. No one has to see it. Don't worry about writing it perfectly, grammatically correct, fixing this or fixing that. Don't worry about what readers will think. I just got to get the story out of my head and onto the page, onto the computer, and everything can be fixed later. And it really freed me up and allowed me to really get inspired, and I wrote more and I was into it more after that point. It also taught me I can go off a beat sheet. I had 50 story beats for this book. That's it. It was not an outline, and I'm not used to improvising, so it taught me that I can improvise a book, and that improvising may be stressful at first, but it's also fun because the characters can surprise me and take the new plot and directions, and it's fun to discover the plot as I go instead of already knowing where the book is going. It also reminded me and taught me that I can write heavier action books, military action books, and I'm getting better at modern day fighting and gunfights and stuff. So back in 2020, when I wrote The Heart of Christmas, I literally have this memory where I wrote The Heart of Christmas, and some of that, like, there were just random stories about the Heart of Christmas, which was Jesus. So it was like all these different characters, and several of them was like, one of them was these military guys reading letters from home on Christmas Day, but they had to get back to combat. And I remember thinking, I really want to write a military book about these military guys and this team, but I'm never going to be able to write that. And also at the time I wrote The Heart of Christmas, it was my only way to be able to write contemporary books, because I couldn't write a contemporary novel, so I had to confine myself to like really short stories that I compiled together. And so I was like, you'll never ever be able to do that. And this year I also edited The Heart of Christmas. I don't have it with me, but that is another book I edited. And so as I did that, I realized, look at me now, I've actually written 2 military romantic suspense novels and 1 psychological thriller with more planned. So I realized 4 years ago I didn't think I could do it, and now here I am. So it was a really interesting thing to reflect back on. Literally, I remember being so discouraged with The Heart of Christmas, because this is the most I'll ever do in the contemporary genre. I'll never be able to write a military book or anything about military stuff, and I was so discouraged. So I also learned how to do like resting, relaxing, and recovering beats and mix the romance in there. That's kind of more of a storyline stuff, not resting and relaxing with me, although that has been something I've been practicing this year, because ever since 2020, when I wrote 1,000,000 words, I have been writing, editing for my clients, publishing. I don't give myself a break. I don't take weekends or holidays off. Like, I maybe take a break here and there, and that's been constant for the most part. Like, for the last 4 years, if you don't count 2024, so 2023 and back to 2020, I maybe had 2 weeks or 3 weeks to a month at the most where I wasn't editing or writing something, or writing for or editing for a client, or writing for a client, because I used to do that too. And so 2024, I was very burnt out. And so I think that's why I had all that trouble at the beginning of the year. Was like, I haven't written since December and it's March. Honey, you needed a break. Like, I overwhelmed myself to this massive burnout, and at the time I didn't know what it was, and I was just terrified I was never going to write a book again. And I'm still like, well, what if I never write a fantasy book again? I've just been writing contemporary ones all year. But it's fine. I just needed a break, and that's perfectly fine. So I tried to also ground this book, The Cost to Escape, in reality, make things realistic and incorporate prayer and God, and make it, and even through the I don't know what I'm saying, and even like through the action beats praying, which the Coastal Hope series that I read actually helped me a lot with that as well. So that's the books that I wrote in 2024. So as you can see, I did write a lot. So that's what, how many? Let me calculate this real quick. Okay, so I wrote 4 books this year. 3 of them were novels, and 2 books are also unfinished. So yeah, 4 were completed total. So that's 6 books that I started writing this year. Probably more because I've delved into things here and there. Okay, so that's what I actually accomplished this year: writing, editing, publishing. I also learned Kickstarter with Immortal. So the Kickstarter, it took me a lot to learn, and it was really stressful in the month of August. But I did learn it. I figured it out, and it was my first Kickstarter, my first bookish Kickstarter, and I got over $2,000, which was put back into sending out the Kickstarters, and then the rest of it was editing. The rest of more basically Survivor, and actually Survivor was done. It was editing Remnants and the short story companions, and designing more covers for the Valiant series from my designer. So I didn't actually see a dime of it, but I was really excited, and it was a lot of marketing, so I've been marketing a lot. So publishing wise, that was the main thing, was again re-releasing all of these and the Valiant series, doing the Kickstarter for Immortal, and then doing Immortal's actual release in November. And so by the time November ended, I wanted to get things done. On top of the fact that I've been posting 3 full-length YouTube videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every week for this whole year. I haven't missed a single one, so that's however many videos. And so by the time December rolled around, I was just like, I wanted to get all my videos scheduled for December and take December off for fun, and that's what I've been doing. So that's what I actually accomplished this year. So that was part 2. So part 3, my personal goals that I achieved this year, and I will post the pictures up on the screen for you guys because I had a lot from Duolingo. So I started Duolingo, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know if I started it at the beginning of this year or before this year started or in the middle of the year, but I have a lot of stats from Duolingo. So hey guys, so I wanted to go over Duolingo. My 2024 year in review. I'm a top 8% Japanese learner on Duolingo, so I have a 352 day longest streak, which is longer. It's just at the time that I got this photo. 1,036 minutes spent using Duolingo, 8,000 XP, and I'm in the top 8%. I made 242 mistakes this year. Alicia was my bestie, and we had a 142 day friend streak. 352 days was my longest streak. I spent 1,036 minutes on Duolingo and completed 414 lessons in Japanese. So I wanted to go over this. So that was a really big goal. I've been keeping up with Duolingo every day since I started it as much as I can. I've had a couple, like 2 or 3 days where I've had to use a freeze streak because I skipped a day, and you can save your streak by freezing the day. And you do that by like learning more lessons and stuff. So I'm learning. Not retaining a lot of information now because I'm getting into some hard stuff, but I'm really excited, and I may switch to another language. I may switch to Spanish or something, but for now I'm learning Japanese, so I wanted to fill you guys in because that was another personal goal of mine that I had this year that I've been doing personally that I just haven't really talked about very much. So I really want to check that out. So I may add a clip here or the pictures or whatever. So we'll react to that. So the other thing was the Fable. I may actually do that on the app as well. Hey guys, sorry this is an up-down clip, but I wanted to show you guys the Fable app. So you go to your profile, and I love the Fable app because it has all kinds of charts. Give it a minute to load. So your reader summary does change based on, I don't know how often it changes. It changes fairly often, every couple of months, based on what you read and stuff. So this is still kind of like Soldier. So it was a lot of the, when I read the Coastal Hope series. So typically, now the app is slowing. I don't know why it's glitching. Of course, when I want to show it off, it's glitching. But typically it shows the book covers. So it shows that I finished reading 19 books this year. And again, it shows the months and the covers for the books that you read. Don't know why they're not working. Normally it does. And again, same there. It actually shows with your reading streak. I have a 53. I actually didn't know it was over the 50. So I have a 53-day reading streak, which started in October, on October 25th. So, and again, these will actually, the pink will show you the covers of the books that you're reading in your reading streak. The most read genres, it'll break it down in a little graph for you. So I've mostly read romance with like 14 books in romance, fantasy 8 books, young adult 8, mystery 3, and thriller 3. So it kind of breaks that down for you. Your average star rating based on what you rate books. So mine's 4.2 is the average. And then your most read authors this year, I read 5 books of Jessica Ashley's, and I read 2 books of Rebecca Yarros. So I love all the charts and things, and so I'm still active on Goodreads, but for me it's so much fun. And I also built my shelfie this year, so I'll show you guys a picture of that. And you can set your reading goal for the year set up. I haven't actually done that apparently. So yeah, it's really exciting. And then they also have clubs, which I haven't done. They also have like TV shows, and then you can interact with people here and post your feed and stuff. And a lot of times they'll show you other people who've reviewed books that you've recently reviewed, so you can connect with other people and you can track your progress for the different books you're reading, that are listed as you're currently reading. And so right now I'm reading Throne of Glass, so that's why that's there. So I wanted to show you guys the Fable app and my reading goals this year. So I'm really proud and excited that I've read 19 books this year. I wanted to show you guys that, but we're gonna get on Goodreads and check out my 2024 wrap up on Goodreads as well. So I'll show that clip next. Okay, so I actually found Goodreads. So this is the Goodreads clip. All right, so my 2024 books. By the way, my cousin and I on Pins and Paperbacks on our podcast channel, we did a 2024 book awards, which is where we came up with book categories, and using the books that we read this year awarded certain books to certain categories. So go check out that video. I will have it here as a card. It should be up by the time you guys are watching this video. We had a lot of fun, and you guys can play along in the comments below of that video for what books go to which awards in your opinion based on what you read this year. But real quick summary, these are the books that I read this year. So Princess of Undersea by Leslie Canzotti, Anathalion by H.A. Pruitt, The Winter Prince by Constance Lopez, Shadow of the Sanctuary by Aurora Asher, Split by Swatia Vashti, Darkroom Etiquette by Robin Rowe, Boy Toy by Barry Liga, Set This House in Order by Matt Ruff, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, Cyclone by Janie Crouch, Serpent in the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, Pages of Promise, Searching for Peace, Second Chance Serenity, Tactical Revival, and Perilous Healing, all part of the Coastal Hope series by Jessica Ashley, and Bloodguard by CC Robson. I feel like I had way more. That's not, hold on. I guess that is 19 books. Okay, so starting at the top, my year in books 2024, I read 7,800 pages and 19 books so far. My shortest book was 216 pages, which was The Winter Prince by Constance Lopez. My longest book was 757 pages, which was A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Average book length in 2024 was 410 pages. My most shelved was most shelved Fourth Wing. My least shelved was Princess of Undersea by Leslie Canzotti. So shout out to indie authors, because indie authors need support. So shout out. You should go read this. It's a Little Mermaid retelling. It's a really good book. My average rating for 2024 is 4.1. So Fable says 4.2, so that's close. My highest rated on Goodreads, the book that I read that's the highest rated is Perilous Healing, which is surprising because Fourth Wing is more famous and some of the other books are more famous, but it's rated 4.72 stars. So my first review of the year was Princess of Undersea, which I gave a 3-star review. So that's all of the books listed. My last review of the year was Perilous Healing. That is not true. The last one that I reviewed was Bloodguard. I don't know why my review is not popping up. So that's my Goodreads clip. So now back to the other stuff. So I'll check out the Fable app and my reading goals, because I didn't actually set an official reading goal this year. I just knew that I wanted to actually try reading this year, and I did. As you can see on the Fable app, March was a big year for me. And then in October, my cousin and I started our TBR challenge, where we pick books from our TBR list and read them. And originally it was going to be part of my YouTube channel, but then in November we made our own YouTube channel called Pens and Paperbacks. And so our November TBR challenge videos are on there along with our December ones. And so December we found a structure. We have a logo, like everything's official now. So go check out Pens and Paperbacks and subscribe, because we talk about the books as we read them. Again, we pick books off our TBR list and then we read those books, talk about them, discuss them, and we also go over book news and book topics and book theories and things like that. Like, we just talk, and it's just a really fun bookish themed podcast that is on our YouTube channel right now. And it's just really fun. And also for December, you can do the challenges with us and pick books from your TBR list and read through them with us. We also kind of share our thoughts about the books we read. And so that's got me to steadily reading every month. And I actually have like a 40 some odd day consecutive reading streak. So I'm trying to keep that up. It's really fun. And so I'll show you the clips from Duolingo and the Fable app. I also started using the Finch app, which helped me with personal care. So it may sound a little stupid and silly. And I would say if there are 3 apps that all writers need to have in order to stick to their writing goals, it would be Duolingo. If there were apps that writers could use to help them keep to their goals, it would be Fable to read a lot, and then Finch to actually like do self-care. So a lot, like, they'll offer suggestions. You take care of this little bird, and as you do your goals every day and select that you did them, your bird gets energy and grows up, and you can explore things, and your bird grows and develops more of a personality. But you can also input your own goals. So I do that for my writing, my reading, my publishing. I do that for self-care, my personal goals. I do it for reading. I do it for everything. And so every day I have a certain set of goals that I want to achieve, along with the regular goals that they'll add in too. And so it's helped me as a writer and as a reader also keep to my goals, along with Fable. So Fable and Finch are the 2 apps that are unusual apps that I use to help me with my writing goals. So it's really good. And that's just really helped me this year, especially the Finch app for the Fable for reading and the Finch for self-care. It's been really nice, and it's really been helping me an awful lot. So those are the personal goals that I achieved this year. And again, I'll have clips about Duolingo specifically, and about Fable specifically, and about Finch, to kind of show you guys a little glimpse of those. So I'll have those clips playing for you guys so you know more what I'm talking about. My year in a picture. So this is what I wrote this year. This is what I published and re-released this year. And this is the books that I read this year. So enjoy. Let me see your books in a year. I don't know if you can post pictures on the comments, but let me know how you guys did your goals this year. Did you achieve them? Did you not? I'm interested to see. So how did you guys do for 2024? Did you meet your goals? Did you not? And if you failed like I did, I maybe did like 4 of my like 50 goals I set for myself. I was so ambitious this year, but if you have failed your goals, it's okay. I needed to rest this year. I needed to take a step back. I needed to take a break. I dealt with the burnout really bad at the beginning of the year. And then when I started getting revitalized, it was writing in a new genre, and I wasn't sure if I would actually write the books that I did. I had to focus more on editing and marketing, specifically marketing and publishing, and trying like re-releasing my series, coming up with my author brand, really establishing myself and who I am as an author, and kind of embracing that, and getting a cover designer and an editor that I can work with to help my book series. And so I did a lot of important things this year, and it's okay to have not written 20 books and 1 million words this year like I did in 2020. It's okay that I only published 1 book as opposed to like 3 or 4. It's okay that I read more and edited less, that I only edited like Immortal and, you know, a handful of these books to get them ready for publication. It's okay if you don't meet your goals. So I feel really excited and proud of myself. I feel like I've established so much for who I am as an author, and my books, my series is. I kind of have a game plan going forward. And I also, and the other important thing that changed with my year this year was mindset for me, because before I was throwing myself into the Valiant series, which is fine. It's my book baby. But I realized I need to start releasing and publishing other books, and it's okay to give attention to other books and actually edit them the same thorough way I would do the Valiant series. Before, I wasn't doing that, and that's why this year I really did that with the Calamity's Hope series, because I didn't edit them as thoroughly as I did the Valiant series, because they're not the Valiant series, so I wasn't going to give them attention, but they do deserve it. And I have other books too that I've written and never published or released, and I can give attention to other books. It's okay, and I needed to kind of come to that conclusion. Also, again, resting and taking time out for myself and giving myself a break. Just because I'm a full-time author and I'm home all the time doesn't mean I have to spend every waking second working in one way or another. Also, I needed to learn how to give more time and attention to marketing, because a lot of times I write and I write and I write and I disappear into the world of writing, and I don't pay as much attention to marketing. And also the chapter story app, visually being able to see the stories in a new way, which kind of replaced RPG Maker for me, because I wanted to make a video game out of some of my books, but interactive stories that have visuals and sounds and sound effects and music to them was a nice replacement for that. That's not as complicated, because RPG Maker has a lot of other complicated issues with it. Learning and figuring out Kickstarter, getting my first hardbacks, getting my first chibi art, which is Nissan. So I did a lot this year, and so I feel accomplished and proud of myself, even though I didn't meet any of my original goals. Because that's the other thing too, is sometimes you can set goals for yourself at the end of a year and think you know what you want to do next year, and then things change, and that's okay. And that's kind of like what I'm okay with, is that I'm okay with the change. So what are my actual goals for 2025? I haven't actually figured that out yet. I'm gonna have to make a whole nother clip when I figure that out. So I will check in with you guys when I figure this out. Okay, so I actually have all of my goals figured out, so let's check it out. It didn't actually take me very long. So again, the biggest issue that I realized with this year that I made a mistake was just being too ambitious with my goals. And this year I've learned to take a break, relax, don't burn myself out. That writing isn't the only part of my job. I need to dedicate other time to editing, proofreading, formatting, marketing, and reading actually does help writing. And people have said that for years, and I just didn't listen to them, but reading has actually really helped me, even though I haven't written as much. So with all of these goals, I'm not being as hard on myself or strict on myself. So it's kind of just like what I can get done. I really do want to get done. So hear me out. So here's my goals. My writing goals for the year. I want to write and finish Flood for sure. It would be nice if I could write Landslide, and then I would like to finish the Calamity's Hope series. So the final book's going to be Snowstorm, and as of right now I don't have any others between Landslide and Snowstorm. So if Snowstorm is the last and it goes Flood, Landslide, Snowstorm, then finish it. If not, add more. Just make progress in the Calamity's Hope series. I need to write the Mech Wars book 3, so that is another one I actually do want to write, so I can get the Mech Wars done and actually start publishing that series, because I don't want to publish it till they're all done. So these are, I would like to outline or write. So if I can't write and finish them, I would at least want to get the book outlined for the third Game of Lies saga book. Same thing with the final 2 Book Whisperer saga books. Same with more books in the Hearts of Valor series. So I have other ones planned beyond just the Cost to Escape. So I'd like to work a little bit more in that series. I need to fix the Mystical Companions book 1 and 2's plotline, because the rest of the series is in my Mythreach Legends universe all hinge on the first Mystical Companions timeline issue that I'm having. Same with Legacy of Power, because those are kind of together. So I gotta fix that and write more in the Mystical Companions. I need to rewrite books 1 and 2. And Legacy of Power, I want to finish writing it because I started it this year, and basically get that done so that way I can start working and publishing the Mythreach Legends universe, because that's going to be another book baby like the Valiant series. So same thing, outline and write more books in the Mythreach Legends universe series. I have a lot of different series in that, and maybe I'll make a graphic on Canva and show you guys, because I actually came up with logos for my different series, and the ones that are even like universes, like the Valiant series and the Republic Chronicles are in the same series. Mythreach Legends is in the same universe, is in its universe. The Calamity's Hope series is in a different universe, real life universe, than the Hearts of Valor series. So again, I actually have those, I just don't know how to release them or talk about them, so I kind of want to figure that out too. So Outline or Write Lost Magi, that's book 4 in the Republic Chronicles. Write on the Chapters app, add more stories to the Chapters app to start getting a lot of content on there. And then I want to write more for fun and do more writing challenges, because I haven't actually dedicated a lot of time to that over the past 4 years. So I'd like to just do more writing for fun. So we'll see how that goes. So my reading goals this year is going to be 24 books. I want to read at least 2 books every month. Okay, so my reading goals for this year is 24 books. So my goal is to read at least 2 books every month, reading from my TBR list, and I want to do more book challenges, more types of them. The 3 types so far is the TBR challenge, the book blind date with a book challenge, and this reading wheel challenge. So those are out here. I have other ideas, and so my cousin and I again are doing the podcast where we do the TBR challenge every month. So I don't want to confine myself just to the books that I choose for a month, because that may change and I feel confined a little bit. So I'm probably not going to do that one consistently, but we're still going to read books and talk about it on our podcast, which is still fun. And I'm still going to do book challenges both on this channel and on that one, so I'll have to split different ones. But either way, so that's my goal, 24 books. With my cousin and I's podcast, the goal is to at least get 2 books done every month minimum. We'll see if I can get to 30, but my main one, I don't want to push myself, so 24 books, because I did 20 this year, and that was before I ever had a goal, or that was just reading for fun. I really didn't start actually actively trying to read and get books done until October. The rest of this was just for fun. So those are my reading goals. My editing goals, I need to finish editing Rebels. It's a collection of short stories that take place in the world of Averell. And when I re-released all of the Valiant books, I still have not re-released Rebels, because I haven't gotten it re-edited or formatted yet. Obviously, the other ones I want to edit, my editor did round 1 of Survivor and Remnant and sent it to me. Those are sitting there. So I need to go through round 1 of edits for both of those. And then I need to send her round 1 of Warrior. So I need to do the pre-edits at least. Given these 2 and how much work it takes to edit, I'll have to edit 1 round for both of these, send it back to her, she does 1 round, and then sends it back to me, and then I do round 2. Given that, I don't think I'm going to be able to get to Warrior, so realistically speaking, just 1 round of pre-edits for Warrior, although they are Remnant, Warrior, and Enslaved are all 3 together. I need to finish, when I finish writing Flood, I want to edit Flood with my sister's help. And then editing the Hearts of Valor books to get them ready for releasing, and then the Blood Prince, and then any other standalone book that I'm then going to publish. So same thing with publishing. I want to publish, realistically, Rebels first of the year, do a Kickstarter for it, Survivor, do a Kickstarter for it, and then a release later in the year. I want to publish Flood if I can get it written and edited in time, but I'm not going to push it, so that's why there's a question mark there. Standalone books, I want to publish some standalone books that are not connected with any of my main series, and other publishing goals include standalone other book series and stuff like that I've started, and then Kickstarter special edition hardbacks for the Valiant books. So my personal goals, I want to keep up my Duolingo streak every day for the year. I want to read every day for the year, and then YouTube at least once a week, because 3 times a week this year honestly was really, really overwhelming for me this year. And so realistically, I would like to still keep up with 3 days a week if I can. If I have to take off 1 day, I will go down to 2 days a week, but at least once a week, every week, is my main goal for YouTube. And then social media as frequently. I don't think it's realistic to think that I will publish every single day on social media, but as many times as I can is the goal. So those are my goals for 2025. We will see how I will get to it. If I will get to it or not. I'm being a little bit more relaxed with myself this year. So we will see. What were your 2024 goals? Did you complete them? And what are your goals for 2025? Are you taking it easy? Are you being a little bit more determined and serious this year? Let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more writing and reading videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And in the meantime, if you liked my year in review for 2024, then check out the one I did for last year, which is when I set all the ridiculous and ambitious goals I did this year that I epically failed at. Check that out. You don't want to miss it. And by the way, Happy New Year. It's 2025, guys. It is here.